Welcome back to another mobility session. This week is actually coming from a suggestion from a friend. Lois had asked if we could focus on toes and ankles for this week. So the movements that I got for you this week are going to be the toe stretch and the towel scrunch. It's going to be for your feet and toes. And then after that, for the ankles, we're going to do the anterior tib stretch, the combat stretch, and the up, down, and in and out. Those are going to be the movements that we focus on today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So for the toe stretch, what you're going to do, you're going to be on hands and knees. I got this as a timer. So you're going to be on hands and knees. And what I want you to do is place your big toe as close or as flat to the ground as you possibly can. And you're going to sit back almost like you're sitting on that big toe. You should be feeling a pretty big stretch as you do this. Okay. So again, get set up on hands and knees, big toes on the ground. You're going to sit back until you feel a big stretch, and timer is going. Okay. So if you cannot get into this position, you can always come forward. And if it's too little of a stretch, you can always sit back. The more you sit back and the more you put that weight over your toes, the greater the stretch this is going to be. Again, remember, as you do this, keep on breathing throughout the entirety of the movement. And there we go. That's the first one. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to actually curl your toes under. You're going to go down, and same thing. You're going to kind of sit on those toes. Okay? Again, holding it for 30. Now, as you're doing this, you might feel, at least for the first stretch, big stretch on the bottom of your foot. In this one, you might feel that the front of your shin is starting to warm up. Perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. One thing I hope you don't experience, and you might experience, is a cramp on the bottom of your foot when you're curling those toes in. That's time right there. I'm gonna put those big toes flat on the ground again, going in the other direction. Sit back and go. So yeah, right here, feel that big stretch coming up the bottom of your foot, maybe up into your heel. This position that I'm in currently, it's going to take some time to get there, but you can totally do this. Keep on going. And stop. And then one last time. I'm going to come on down. Hold that stretch. This one's pretty rough. Just got a few more seconds. And stop. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had gotten a notification on my phone saying I had low battery, so I had to go change that out real fast. So, really fast, the next movement that we are going to do is the towel scrunch. So what you're going to need for this is a chair or a bench and a little towel, okay? So what I'm gonna have you do, place that towel flat on the ground. Now, since you're in the comfort of your own home, you don't have to worry about people looking at your feet. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not much of a foot kind of guy. I don't like showing off my feet. I always keep shoes or socks on, but we're gonna have to take at least socks off for this. So for this, what you are going to do, place your foot on the towel. You're going to lift those toes up, splay those toes out as much as you possibly can, and try to grip that towel, right? You're gonna open up those toes again, grip that towel. Open up again, grip that towel. Open and grip. Now, what you may or may not be able to do is you might not be able to actually scrunch that towel up. That's okay. The idea here is I want you to at least get the control of closing in those toes, almost like you're making a fist, but with your foot, okay? So we're gonna do 5 reps of towel scrunches. So from here, you're going to start by opening those toes up, scrunch down, pull that towel closer to you. Open up, pull that towel close to you. Open up and pull. Open up, pull, open up and pull. And then we're going to switch feet, okay? Same thing. Place that towel flat on the ground. You're going to start by opening and scrunch. Open and scrunch. Open and scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open one last time and scrunch. Okay? We're going to do that one more time on both feet. Now, as you're doing this, the reason why we want to focus in on this is even though we just stretched out the tops and bottoms of our feet, we want to have the ability to open and close those toes, right? Good foot mechanics or good foot control just leads into just a more stable, I guess, walk, for lack of a better term. You'll just feel more stable throughout the day, okay? Same thing. Start with whatever foot you started with last time. Open those toes up and scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open, and scrunch. Okay. Switch feet. Open and scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open, scrunch. Open, scrunch. Sounds weird now that I'm saying it so many times. Open, scrunch, and open one more time, and scrunch. Okay. And that is going to be it. We don't need this towel anymore. Okay. So I'm going to put my socks back on, and then we're going to move on to the next movement. The next movement is going to be the anterior tib stretch. This is a muscle that is on the front of your calf. Okay, so the muscle that you would commonly feel shin splints in is called your anterior tibialis, and that is actually what we're going to be stretching out right now. So the way that we're going to do this, feet are going to be flat on the mat, or as flat as you can possibly get them. I'm on hands and knees, and I'm going to push my weight back, very similar to that toe stretch that we were doing. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to flatten down from my shin all the way down my foot, and I'm just going to sit here. Now, this right here can be a pretty big stretch, so if you have to, use those hands to support yourself. But you want to make sure that you have a point of contact at your foot and a point of contact at your knee. And then what you're trying to do is trying to close that gap as much as you can. Okay, so get into position, hands and knees. You're going to slowly pull back, and then we're going to start that timer. Now, with that toe scrunch that we just did, you might start to get a cramp on the bottom of your foot. I do apologize about that. That's just part of the game, okay? But as you're sitting here, you're just trying to feel a big stretch on the front of your shin, okay? Just trying to hold this for as good as you possibly can. Okay, just a few more seconds, and then we'll pop up right out of this. Okay, and time. Come on forward and relax. We're going to hold that one more time here in a second. Now, there is a more advanced variation, and I'll show you that in the next part. But if you are unable to get the ankle down to the mat, do not attempt this next part, okay? So let's hop back in. The more advanced variation of this, again, if you are able to sit like this or like this, the next step would be to actually put your hands behind your body and then lean back and try to lift up just a little bit, okay? So get into position and go. So for myself, I'm going to lean back and try to pull my knees up. And I'm just going to hold this right here. This right here allows me to get a deeper stretch throughout that entire area. Having these babies, I'm constantly on my hands and knees, and I'm fairly attuned to sitting with my ankle flat, as I spend a lot of time changing diapers on the ground. But if you are not spending a lot of time in that position, don't expect to be doing this anytime soon, okay? All right, and stop. Okay. The next movement that I got for you is going to be the combat stretch. Now, we've done this one quite a few times. I'm going to change this up. We're going to hold it as a stretch and not so much as a movement, okay? So, as previously demonstrated, up on one knee, you're going to be in a half lunge position. Turn that back leg in, and you're going to shift your weight forward. Now, as far as the stretch is concerned, what I want to do is I actually want to sit down. I'm going to pull this foot in as much as I can, and I'm going to shift my weight over that toe. Okay, so my knee should be driving over my toe, and we're going to hold this position. Now, I'm sitting in that anterior tib stretch position from earlier. I feel comfortable doing this. If you are not comfortable doing that, hop up just like so. You're sitting now on your ankle, and you're going to shift your weight forward. Okay, so get into position and go. So a couple of stretches that you're going to be feeling, probably up into the calf and potentially even your Achilles tendon. Now, that is perfectly understandable if you are not able to get your toe or get your knee super far over your toe. It is something that you should try to aspire for in future stretches. But as far as today, if you are a couple inches back, nothing to worry about. And that is time right there. Let's switch sides. Okay. Again, get into position and go. Again, I'm trying to drive my knee as far over my toe as I possibly can. We're holding these for 30. Try to really drive that knee. Feel that big stretch into the calf and the Achilles. Just got a few more seconds. And time. We're going to switch sides again. Okay. Same thing. Hop into position. I want to bring this closer. And start. Now, as you're doing this, really just focus on as far as you can go. Don't try to base your range of motion off of myself or anybody else you see doing a similar movement like this, right? There's going to be people that can really drive their knees forward, and I won't be able to go as far as them. They've probably been practicing this a lot more than I have. And stop. Switch sides. Get in a position, and you're going to drive forward and start. Now, one of the hidden benefits that not a lot of people talk about doing ankle mobility is it can help tremendously with your squat and even, this might sound weird, even some low back pain. Having good ankle mobility just really goes up your whole body. Okay, and stop right there. Now, I say how it can even potentially help with low back pain. If you're doing squats and your ankles are tight, you're more than likely going to have to compensate somewhere within your body. And that's going to ultimately lead to either your hips or your lower back. Not always, but sometimes. And so ankle mobility, though it is at your ankle, can help other problems as well. Okay, the last movement that I got for you is going to be the up downs and in and outs. Now this one, you're going to sit down, feet out in front of you, and I'm just going to give you a quick demo. You're going to pull your toes up, point your toes down, pull your feet in, pull your feet out. Okay, that's all we're going to do, and we're going to do 5 reps of that. So get into a comfortable position with your feet out in front of you, and you're going to pull up. Pull those toes up towards your torso as much as you possibly can. and down. You're gonna point those toes away from you as much as you possibly can. I'm starting to get a cramp on the bottoms of my feet. I hope you're not. Pull them in, almost like you're trying to touch your pinky toes together. And then pull them away, like you're trying to take those pinky toes away from each other. And that's one. Pull up. Pull those big toes up as hard as you possibly can. And down. Drive those toes away from you. I'm getting the cramp again. This really sucks. Pull them in. Trying to touch those pinky toes together. And out. You'll be feeling this part on the outsides of your shins. And that's two. Come on, up. Pull them up towards your torso. Whew. Down. In. Out. 3. Up. Down. In. Out. That makes 4. Up. Down. In. And out. Hold just for a second and break. Okay. So that just about does it for everything that I got for you guys today. Thank you again, Lois, for the suggestion. And if you guys have a suggestion, let me know down in the comments. Shoot me a DM and share this with someone that needs to work on their ankle mobility. All right. I'll see you guys next week.